So I thought we'd talk about disinformation, as in like diss it, because I really like Elon Musk's tweet about that, if nothing else. This is, of course, about the disinformation or truth unit, I'm just going to call it, that they've set up. And I'll shill first the Active Measures book club that me and Carl did in regards to the KGB, MI5, and all the rest of it, with their literal information psyops, in which they would literally create disinformation for fun, for the purposes of helping the government, and I'm sure the US government would never do the same. Let's move to the next one, because then we have the fact that the board is now dead. Fantastic. I mean, this actually cheered me up this week, seeing it, genuinely. I love that you have a professional doxer, Taylor Lorenz, having to report on it as well. oh no.
Oh, man.
Yeah. If you go to the next one, we can see how this is being reported, at least the headline here, which has also been screenshotted here, just as brilliant. How the Biden admin let right-wing attacks derail its disinformation efforts. Chad, yes. God bless the right wing sometimes, and this is one of them.
I love how they, in the USA, it's always the conservatives pounce.
Yeah.
Right. Anytime like the other side of the political aisle does like something stupid or has some horrendous idea, and conservatives or just normal people have some backlash against it, that's always the headline. It's always, the right wing attacks, conservatives pounce, far right. It's like, okay, so you don't want to frame it as in, oh, maybe the other side, like maybe this was just a bad idea.
I'm kind of proud of it, though. Like every time they say, did you know those dirty rightists are trying to stop us from perverting kids?
How come no one uses that word?
What, rightist?
Yeah. Is it because it sounds like rightist?
I don't know. In English, I mean, it's a perfectly good word. We use leftist all the time.
Yeah, we use leftist, but no one uses rightist.
I got mostly into use it. We did a book club of Mao's Great Famine, and Mao would continuously just be like, yeah, the rightist need to be destroyed.
Interesting.
So I got into the habit of using it from there.
Yeah, you're the only one person I know. Like, I know it's a real word, but no one seems to use it.
We should use it more, popularize it. But yeah, the rightists, they're horrible because they're trying to shut down the Ministry of Truth. God bless the American right. You guys are golden girls.
How is this real, man?
They say Jankowicz. Again, I don't get, you have an Eastern European name and you're pro-truth department. Yeah, I'm sorry, but she says she was the victim of a coordinated online attack as the administration struggled to respond.
Victim,
no.
of course. Woe is me. People love that one. Put a terrible idea out into the ether. You see this on Twitter all the time. Someone put up the worst, most horrendous, most immoral take in the world, and then people will rightfully respond to it, like not being very pleased. And then it's like, I'm being attacked. And then they'll protect their account. And I'm just like, these people are clowns.
Yeah. And if we go to this clown herself, she has her article. I thought we'd just go through a little bit of it because it's hilarious. And also I enjoy the fact that she was probably crying as she wrote this. So on the morning of April 27th, the Department of Homeland Security announced the creation of the first Disinformation Governance Board with the stated goal to coordinate countering misinformation related to Homeland Security. Great, literal. I mean, you really wonder why people started calling it the Ministry of Truth. The Biden administration tapped Nina Jankowicz, a well-known figure in the field of fighting disinformation and extremism, as the board's director. Keep that in mind. She's well-known as an anti-extremist. In naming the 33-year-old Jankowicz to run the newly created board, just going to stop there. Unlike the author, who is 39 and really doesn't like it when anyone mentions that, so I thought I'd mention it. The administration chose someone with extensive experience in the field of disinformation, who has emerged as an urgent and important issue. Within the small community of disinformation researchers, her work is well regarded. But yes, I'm sure all 12 people who do this love her and her work. So then they say now, just 3 weeks...
I was a big fan of that book, How to Be a Woman Online. That was actually my inspiration.
Seriously?
For the deadlift. So thank you, Nina. I loved your book.
Yeah. They say after the announcements, it's been paused, according to the Department of Homeland Security, after the back and forth stories on what it was going to do, which I love. It's literally been destroyed by quote-unquote disinformation as well. Beautiful. Also, nothing of value was lost in the slightest. But then they say that it's up for review. She's resigned now as well from the board, and it's up for review, so it may even come back, and I bet they will bring it back. And I also love that they say she was working with groups within the Homeland Security Department focused on dis, and malinformation. Like, it's a bit of a self-report where you're just like, yeah, we're just going to label anything some kind of wrong thing. They also say Jankowicz's experience is a prime example of how the right-wing internet apparatus operates, where far-right influencers attempt to identify a target, present a narrative, and then repeatedly mischaracterize the situation across social media and websites.
I've never seen anyone on the left ever do that.
No, her herself, the author, Taylor. You must be familiar with Taylor, right?
Unfortunately.
Professional doxer is just like, did you know the right are terrible? Why? Because they do things and then try to defend it with nonsense reasoning. It's like, bro, you literally doxed a woman because she exposed the left. That's why you did it. Everyone knows that. And also just the smear of everyone who disagrees with me is far right. Of course they are. But you then goes on to say that this is all Jack Posobiec's fault.
Oh, yeah.
Of course it is.
Many things are.
Just hours after Jankowicz tweeted about her new job, far-right influencer Jack Posobiec, yeah, because the Navy's far-right, posted tweets accusing Biden administration of creating a Ministry of Truth. Posobiec's 1.7 million followers, let's get that higher, boys, quickly followed and sprung into action. By the end of the day, there were 53,000 posts about the disinformation boards, and in the following days, that number skyrocketed. Yeah, why's that? I mean, why did it skyrocket? This is a terrible idea.
Terrible idea. let's install a Ministry of Truth in a country where the First Amendment is freedom of speech.
And Americans took that personally, and I don't know why. I mean, this is why I'm at the moment just be like, God bless the United States and their people, because we have polls in this country of do you value free speech, and disappointingly, we get like 50-50 results.
The USA is the bastion for that. I mean, the USA is. I love that country. It's very nutty, as we talked about prior to the show in many ways, but it's such an important country when it comes to things like freedom of speech, because that is really the bastion.
They're the only ones really defending it.
Yeah, if the USA starts embracing all these type of so-called hate speech laws and disinformation laws and not censorship and imprisoning people or fining people for saying things that people disagree with, then
it's over.
The world is toast. I mean,
the last things that the West has right are definitely gone.
Yeah, just in the same way, I'm actually over the years, I've really become like a strong Second Amendment supporter as well. Not because I just love guns,
but because it defends the first.
Yes, right. Because and the U.S. is the country that has that, and it's the biggest country in the West, and it's the most powerful. So it's like, if you guys lose that, I mean, here, I'm going to throw out an idea here. I think that the USA's Second Amendment has protected the world over the past 2 years.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think many people kind of draw that line, and it might seem kind of weird to people to connect those dots. But I think that, firstly, it prevented them from falling into total COVID tyranny in the way that places like Australia, New Zealand, and Canada did. Right? I think they realize, okay, we can't push the whole of the United States that far because they have got that final, break glass in case of. And I think that goes on a worldwide basis as well, because if you could completely, if the USA had completely gone the way of, Australia or Canada or something with the full intensity of that, then again, what hope does anybody else have? I mean, that's just a wrap. They can just do whatever they want at that point.
I remember, I keep bringing it up because it's just horrific, but the Australian police went to a puppy shelter, and then the guys who owned it said, okay, well, come on, get the puppies and make sure they're safe, and we're all isolated. And the police just said no.
They killed them.
Gunned them down.
They killed them, dude. They let some newborn babies die in Australia because they wouldn't let them go across the borders of the province because of the lockdown rules. So they needed to get these babies to a hospital in a different province to give them the emergency care they needed, and they just said, no, you can't cross this border, and the babies died.
Could you imagine if Australians were as armed to the teeth as Americans are?
Well, they don't even want to be. I mean, they
should be if they were.
Cucked away their guns.
I mean, what would have happened, Yeah. If you're just I'm just going to let your kid die.
Yeah, dude, it's... Man, I don't know, man. There's but Americans, if you're listening, keep your straps and keep your ability to speak. Don't give that up on any circumstances, however they try to sell it to you.
Whereas the professional harasser doesn't get that. It doesn't learn that lesson from this. If we go to the next one, I just wanted to give an example of what they think, which is literally just now. I tried to set up a disinformation Ministry of Truth, and people didn't like it. Am I wrong? No, of course you're not. No. I love Douglas Morris's point, which is they think they're up there with the fire service. These journos.
With what service?
The fire service. They're offering a public service. No. You're scum. If we go to the next one, we also have this another quote from here, where she references the fact that everyone's calling it the Ministry of Truth. Unlike the Ministry of Truth in George Orwell's 1984 that became a derogatory point of comparison, neither the board nor Jankowicz actually had any power to declare what was true or false, or compel internet providers, social media platforms, or public schools to take action against certain types of speech. BS. I'm calling it 100% absolute BS, and I can prove it as well because we have the goddamn clip of her talking about it. I'm sorry, this annoys me, but this is her, the Jankowicz lady.
I can't believe they're wearing masks on a Zoom call.
Embarrassing. But she says in here that the way Twitter works, or at least her vision for it, is that verified users should be able to decide the context underneath those posts. You know when you see something that's got a stupid warning? Apparently some Twitter user who's verified gets to do that for you.
Oh, interesting.
Or at least she thinks they should be able to. And let's play it.
And I am eligible for it because I'm verified. But there are a lot of people who shouldn't be verified who aren't, legit, in my opinion. I mean, they are real people, but they're not trustworthy. Anyway, so verified people can essentially start to edit Twitter the same sort of way that Wikipedia is. So they can add context to certain tweets. So just as a easy example, not from any political standpoint, if President Trump were still on Twitter and tweeted a claim about voter fraud, someone could add context from one of the 60 lawsuits that went through the court, or something that an election official in one of the states said, perhaps your own Secretary of State and his news conferences, something like that. Adding context so that people have a fuller picture rather than just an individual claim on a tweet.
Just an open admission. Yes, I do want to completely distort the public square and what everyone wants to say.
Yeah.
Also, I'm the head of the Ministry of Truth. Those things aren't connected at all.
No.
You're verified. Should you be?
Absolutely. I'm a freaking boss. I've got the best account on Twitter.
God. Yeah. But if we go to the next one as well, we can also see the fact that there's her talking about she also wants verified users to be able to edit other users' tweets.
What a terrible idea. Like, these people just, all they have is bad ideas.
This is the person you put in charge of the Ministry of Truth.
Like, who is she? Like, we were having this discussion before about, like, just democracy. And it's like, how are just like random people
you've never heard of
just come out there and all of a sudden they're supposed to just have all this, like, massive power over hundreds of millions or potentially billions of people. Oh, these are the, just here, a random woman who has proven herself already to speak a lot of nonsense. We're going to give this woman, nobody, you didn't elect her and you didn't want this, but we're just going to give her the power over all of this stuff.
She gets even worse. I don't know how much you looked into her. But,
I saw it, like, was it the video where she was, like, singing or?
Yeah, but that's not really the worst thing.
Oh, okay.
The worst thing is being a sympathist for neo-Nazis.
Oh.
I'm not joking. Let's go to the next one here.
Oh.
Again, this is the lady who's going to decide whether or not what you're saying is true. So she, remember, was a well-known anti-extremist. Jankowicz's experience as a disinformation warrior includes her work for Stop Fake, a US government-funded anti-disinformation organization founded in March 2014, and lauded as a model of how to combat Kremlin lies.
Oh, boy.
4 years ago, Stop Fake began aggressively whitewashing Ukrainian neo-Nazi groups with a long track record of violence, including war crimes. They were killing gypsies.
Oh, wow.
And she and her organization were like, well, they're pro-Western, so they're good boys. Boy. Today, Stop Fake is an official Facebook fact-checking partner, which gives its power to censor news, whilst Jankowicz is America's disinformation czar.
Oh, dear.
I mean, that's what I mean. Like, you could not get a worse person who's just like, yeah, well, the neo-Nazis did nothing wrong. Why? Because they're on my side. Okay. Like, they're literally committing war crimes, but Serbia's strong, I guess. And she has the power to censor things on Facebook through that role. She has the power to censor things on Twitter through her role, as she argued there. And but no, don't worry, she wouldn't be able to touch anything. She's also a laptop denier. If we go to the next one, I just love that headline. Hunter laptop denier. Doesn't believe it exists.
Laptop denier.
Yeah, absolutely.
These terms, is that like the? I've heard the term climate denier.
Yeah,
people who deny the climate. Never met one of those, but I didn't know there was a laptop denier.
Completely though. Like, she didn't believe it was a real story. It's all Russian misinformation. It's like, okay, so this again is the person you want in charge. If we go to the next one, we also have the fact that she's a Russia Trump person as well, who's obsessed with that. It's the third image there. She's like, yeah, basically the Russians own Trump. Great. And this S show, I don't know what else to call it, of a pick, obviously led to backlash. And if we go to the next one, we can see the fact that the Ministry of Truth popped up. This account, 250,000 followers there. I'm sure to increase as time goes on, in which they just follow your tweets and just be like, actually, this is wrong. And let me tell you why. Yeah. And if we go to the next one, we have the New York Post reporting on this. Because the question came to mind, which is just, well, why did they actually pause this? Like, what convinced them to pause it? Because it's clearly not principle. They weren't like, oh yeah, we actually love liberal values, so this is a bad idea. No, of course it wasn't. Following the backlash from Republicans and some liberals who likened the board to a Ministry of Truth, the Department of Homeland Security decided to put it all on hold. Also, they did not respond to comment from the New York Post asking them about it. So it's literally just pure power calculus. And we have this confirmed by the diversity hire, the new lady who's the press secretary. And I'm not going to learn her name because she was literally picked for diversity, and so she can live with it. And let's play her response.
You think the board was mischaracterized, then the Disinformation Board is being shut down because of disinformation? Is that what's happening here?
Look, I mean, the board was put forth for a purpose, right? To make sure that we really did address what was happening across the country when it came to disinformation.
And it's okay to wait now 75 days.
It's just going. It's going to pause. There's been a mischaracterizations from outside forces, and so now what we're going to do is we're going to pause it, and we're going to do an assessment. But the work doesn't stop. We're still going to continue the work. The DHS is still going to continue the work.
Okay.
So they're still going to try and
It's
bring
just
it back.
psychobabble, man. It's so painful to listen to these people talk. Like, they just lie. I can't stand people being disingenuous. Like, I hate lying. I hate dishonesty. And there are people in this political, social, cultural world who just all they do is lie.
That's a professional
nonstop.
job. Yeah.
And then you're there doing this and you're accusing other people of disinformation, right? And you have a right to lie. I don't like it. I don't like the fact that every single word that's come out of these people's mouths is nonsense and is not honest. I'm not even trying to censor them though. But they're the ones who have the audacity to think that you are now the arbiters of truth. Like, all you do is lie. Like,
Well, you're the press secretary. That literally is
your
the
job is to lie. Like, it's painful. Like, I think actually it's an embarrassment. I've actually been in that room. I've got a photo standing right where she is. I think actually, as someone who loves the United States of America, I think actually it's a really bad look for them to just have like a liar, and the liar changes every couple of years, who just stands in front of the American flag and the White House symbol and just lies to the public multiple times a week about a host of different issues. And it's not even like outright lying. Like Jen Psaki, like her, the person before, just every time you're just standing there lying, just telling bold-faced lies. And I'm like, man, this is not a good look for your country.
Yeah,
this is not a good look.
I can't get over the transition as well. I mean, I mentioned earlier, but the fact that they brought her out, Jen did, and then she went, yeah, so she's black and gay?
Yeah.
And that was basically the introduction?
Oh, and female.
It was like, right,
and a woman. We forgot what a woman was. We forgot what a woman was, but yeah.
Remembered it now.
Yeah.
And then, there you are. So that's why I'm not learning her name, diversity hire, along with the Supreme Court
Do you know
justice.
what? I don't think, I think Jen Psaki was like, I think she's a sociopath, right? I think she's able to lie.
She moved on to MSNBC. So.
Yeah, well, I think she's the kind of person who's able to just lie that much and be okay with it. I think the reason this woman is struggling to even do this role, because I've seen a couple clips from her and she struggles to get the words out. I don't think in her conscience, I think she has a conscience. And I think the reason why she's not very eloquent here is because she knows she's talking nonsense, and like there's this conflict within her brain or in her heart, which is making her kind of like fumble basic words because she knows she's lying. Like, I think you can get these people who are
wrong.
Yeah, and she knows it's wrong. You can get people who are so sociopathic that like they will just stand there and they will just lie and lie and lie, and they can sleep well at night. They can go home and they're okay with it. I don't think she's like that. I'll be surprised if she lasts long.
I mean,
because
I
don't
guess
think
we'll
she can do
see.
this.
If she stays in the role and gets better at it, that'll be
Yeah,
why she's
we'll
changed.
see. We'll see. I'm gonna make a prediction. I'm gonna make a prediction that she won't last in this role very long. I could be wrong.
I think you might be right.
That's my guess.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll end this off. We go to the next link here just to end it off, which is the point I saw. Very funny from Matt Walsh, at least.
Matt
which
Walsh is a G.
Yeah.
I like that
All
guy.
we had to do with the Disinformation Board was just point at it and say, look at this thing they're doing, and the whole thing collapsed. And it's just so true. Like, all the rightists in America had to do was like, they're making a ministry of truth. Like, that was it. I mean, this is why
I can't tell what she's saying, but I can tell she's crazy. Just like I don't even need
Weird
to
TikToks,
hear her,
yeah.
and I can just see by her face. I'm like, she's crazy.
weird high-pitched screeching. And this is what I kind of love about the American right, to be honest, at a large part, because we did a segment earlier about Tucker Carlson and his reporting on their speeches about
I
migration.
love it when he does that face.
Yeah, it's gold. But they don't, like, all you have to do is just point at the left. Like, you don't have to do much at all.
By the way, I've met Tucker multiple times. I like Tucker.
When you talk to him at a
Tucker's
party,
good
does he
dude.
pull that face as well?
Tucker's cool, man.
Like when you're drinking with him, and you're just like, oh yeah, you're saying a thing. Does he look at you?
I haven't been in a part, but yeah, when we talk and I'm saying something profound, he does the look. So, but yeah, no, because he's someone who, like, man, obviously people say the wildest, craziest stuff about him and accuse him of all this. You know, like I don't know him that well, but when I've met him, he's been very kind. He's been very gentlemanly on and off camera, and like all of these people, he's not this. Monster.
No, I mean, I've seen people walk up to him filming just out of TV life, right?
Okay.
And he's like fly fishing, and he just goes, "Well, why are you filming me?" And they say, "Oh, I just film for vlogs." And he goes, "Oh, cool. You want to talk about fly fishing?" Like this. Like, it's just it's so human.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's that with all the disinformation. And if you appreciated that segment from the podcast The Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as Academic Agent's new book, The Populist Delusion, and the book club that Harry did on it. And also, if you want to follow what else we're putting out, you can follow us on Getter at lotuseaters_com on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.